All right, so today is going to be a little bit more technical, but this is a major issue, and it really is affecting every single person here in Massachusetts. And the fact is that right now, as I'm filming, as I sit here, anyone, and I mean anyone, can send you an email that looks exactly like it came from the state government here in Massachusetts. This is a problem, okay? This is a major problem. Furthermore, not only can it come from a state government email address, but the reality is most people would not even know the difference, meaning they wouldn't know the difference if it actually came from Governor Maura Healey or not. So let me frame this for you for a second here so I could bring you up to speed, okay? So I guess imagine you're on your phone, maybe you are on the T, maybe you're sitting at your desk, and an email pops up from payroll@mass.gov. It has the official state seal at the top, and it says urgent direct deposit update required. You tap it because it's from a government email, right? It's from a .gov here in Massachusetts. Wrong. 30 seconds later, your credentials are in the hands of some 16-year-old kid living in East Jabib, and that scammer just got access to drain a town budget or redirect your neighbor's tax refund. This isn't me being dramatic, by the way. And as I'm sitting here thinking, this probably sounds like I'm going to give you a pitch, a 10-minute pitch or something on a sponsored ad for like NordVPN or something like that. But it's not, okay? This is actually really happening in Massachusetts. It really is. And it's because Massachusetts has left the front door wide open for criminals to impersonate official state emails. I'm basically breaking this news, I guess, if you want to call it news. This is more so a call for help, I guess you could say. But they've known about this for almost 2 years. They've known about this for almost 2 years, guys. That's how long this has been. Not only that, but they've also got instructions on how to fix it. And again, they've done absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I guess with the exception to warn people about the scams, but not looking inward to actually fix the problem of where the scams are coming from. Let me walk you through the timeline here and how I became aware of this. So back in March of 2024, I would say a cybersecurity expert that watches this channel and is someone who actually manages IT systems for a living and is someone who's fixed this exact problem for multiple local governments, sent a direct warning to the office of Senator Michael Moore. Do you know who this is? Who Senator Michael Moore is? If you don't, he is the chair of the Joint Committee on Advanced Information Technology, the Internet, and Cybersecurity. That's his job. This is his job. It's cybersecurity. So this expert that emailed me basically laid it out in plain English, pretty much plain and simple. mass.gov, massnate.gov, jud.state.mass.us, they all lack the proper email authentication. Specifically, they don't have enforced DMARC policies. That's DMARC policies, which I would say in layman's terms is the thing that stops email spoofing dead in its tracks. Now, if you don't know what email spoofing is, it's basically a technique where the scammers out there, they basically forge the sender's email address so that the message looks like it came from someone that you know or someone that you trust. And it's usually to scam you or to deliver some kind of malware on your computer. Now, if you don't think that this is a problem, let me explain why it is a massive problem. Because in 2024 alone, Massachusetts residents reported over $338 million in cybercrime losses to the FBI. That's 14,254 victims. The majority of this came from phishing and spoofing emails. That's what topped the majority of this list in the majority of the cases here. And the victims themselves that were pretty much in this position, they permanently lost their money. Nobody is going to pay these people back. Nobody's going to pay them back. But the worst case scenario, this occurs when the target is a government agency, it's a school district, or it's a public utility company. These are, I would say, increasingly common attacks that are often like when a business email has been compromised and where a single spoof message can redirect a multi-million-dollar vendor payment or construction funds, which basically means that the money stolen ultimately comes straight out of the taxpayers' pockets with little hope of reimbursement. This, of course, this has happened before. Specifically, one of the bigger cases was in Arlington, Massachusetts. This was back in 2024. These scammers ended up stealing over $445,000 from the high school rebuild project by pretty much just, again, spoofing a contractor email. And then what they ended up doing is they redirected the wire more than likely into their account. The town, they only recovered $103,000, which in turn left the taxpayers to potentially cover the rest. There was another instance in Dorchester back in 2023. The Public Sector Workers Union, they lost $6.4 million to, again, another spoof domain pretending to be some kind of investment manager. They were lucky to recover $5.3 million, but guess what happened to that other million? Okay, that other million in public linked funds, that's vanished, right? It's gone. It's completely gone. That guy's probably living on an island somewhere. So these are not rare exceptions, guys. They're not rare, and it's mainly because Massachusetts towns and schools this is not a uncommon occurrence. This happens regularly. And when the victim is a public entity, every single dollar stolen is a dollar taken from residents. That's why I wanted to cover this. And that's why this is a big deal. And as far as I know, as of right now, nothing has changed. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you got to think about this. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you know, the people with all of the resources, all of the tech teams, all of this, like, you know, ridiculous schools like Harvard and MIT, they refuse to do anything about it. And it's not rocket science either to solve this problem. It's not rocket science. It's basic email standards for security. This is like locking your front door. That's what this is. And a bigger part of this problem is that the majority of the people that are affected by this are seniors, or my wife, because they end up clicking, you know, a refund from mass.gov or rerouting payments, you know, to a bogus state email or something like that. Okay. You know, and the fact is, to fix this problem, I think it would take them less than an afternoon, maybe even less than that, okay? It's outrageous. It really is. And I'm willing to bet that there's some people here, maybe perhaps even in the comments, that are thinking to themselves, well, Mike, if you're sitting here talking about it, isn't this just going to provide an opportunity to potential scammers to know about this? And my answer to that is absolutely yes. It is absolutely yes. But the fact is that here's the deal, okay? The silence on this, it has not worked for over 20 months. 20 months they've been notified about this. So somebody has to be here to do something, because every single day without the enforcement of this, it's going to leave residents here. It's a problem, okay? It's going to leave the residents here in a position where they could become a victim, okay? That's why it's a problem. So I don't care if it's letting people know. I care more about the state knowing about this and getting it fixed, okay? Again, it's outrageous, and somebody needs to say something, and something needs to happen. We've already tried, okay? We've already tried. This is like the final round of what we could do, okay? So I never ask this, but I'm going to ask it of you today. This is what I want you to do. I want you to send this video to your state rep, to the governor, to the attorney general's office, to whoever you think could get this message across, and demand that they enforce some email security, specifically enforce DMARC, okay? That's what they need to do. They need to do it today, not next month, not next year. It needs to be done today, because the next spoofed email might land up in your inbox tomorrow. And the next $446,000 loss could come from your town or your town schools or your union or your business. That's the way it goes, okay? That's the way it goes. That's it for today's email, guys. Again, thank you for watching. Appreciate you subscribing to the channel. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.